All right, now we're here at the Flow Bowling Harry O'Neill Chesapeake Open. Harry spells his last name wrong, so we're not related in any way, but maybe fourth cousins or something. So in this match, you'll notice there isn't many bowling balls on the rack here. We were both using urethane, both pretty committed to urethane. They played pretty tough.
Confident, as Chris mentioned, Smooth really wasn't terribly pushed by Greg Young in that last game. He'll get pushed here.
The balls were really, really responsive, and you couldn't keep them off the head pin. And if you moved your eyes too far right and try to throw it right, they wouldn't hook. So in order to keep your angles a little bit straighter, the urethane was the play for sure. I was using the Purple Hammer, which is a more down lane urethane ball compared to the black one. Gives me a little bit more room to the right, and when I'm trying to slow down and hook it with urethane, it's got to be the purple one for me. My entire mindset during this title match was I really needed to get out to a quick start. When you're bowling somebody who is going for their first title, it's really, really important to put the pressure on them and make them feel it. You don't want them to get comfortable at all. It's something that I did not do when I bowled Chris Prather for the playoffs. I got off too slow. I let him get comfortable, and that's what ultimately ended up costing me that event. So this one here, I knew I needed the best shots for me were going to be slow. As long as I threw it slow, I could hook it back from most places. So it just had to be slow, and even that one, which was a little bit left of where I was looking, because I was throwing it slow, it forced me left of the lane, which gives me more oil to cross through. So that's where gave me the most area to play. But for me, throwing it slow is typically the hardest thing for me to do. So while it was the best spot, maybe physically is not going to be the most crisp. So for me, it just was slow, and slower.
Start for him this year. Yeah, it has been that way this year. I'll give you his numbers on here in a moment. But first, here's AJ trying to fight back through the face, and he got a trip there. That's going to help him a little bit.
So AJ just got done bowling a pretty good game the match before against Greg Young, and so he was pretty locked in. This one caught him off guard a little bit. He was a little bit slow, and he's a little bit further right than I was. The ball that I'm using hooks a little bit more, so he had to stay a little bit further right. A little bit closer to the dry. So when he got it to the right that quick and a little slower, it didn't have much of a chance to hang on.
Nobody has thrown any shots left of 15 in their practice bowls, so feels like there's a little bit cleaner in there.
AJ Chapman pursuing title number 1.
See how hard he's trying to wipe that oil off that ball. That's really important when you're throwing urethane. You don't want any extra oil on the ball, because that'll make the ball go way longer than it does with reactive. So if you're using urethane, you got to make sure that you get every drop off.
Well, what's harder, your first title or your second title?
The first one's always hardest.
So this shot here was pretty similar to the one he threw on the right lane. Got a little bit, to the right, a little bit slower, and it caused him to go pretty high. And so, at this point, he's going to have to make a pretty large move to get his ball reaction back to where he needs to be. Because I think he thought it was a pretty good shot.
Gun for it, and by going for it, he's going to leave 2 on the deck and an early opening. So this is Bill O'Neill now, who's seen this happen.
So at this point, I'm thinking if I can strike in the third and fourth, I got to stranglehold on this match, and he looks lost. And I'm assuming if I can throw 2 more here, that I can end the match pretty early. If if he doesn't make the right move and carry and have a bunch of good things happen to him.
Outside your head, and the second one is the vindication for yourself that hey, you really get to enjoy the second one probably first.
3 for 3 for O'Neal.
See that shot there was further right than the one before, but it was much slower. So it's it's got a chance, and that's all I needed to do was just not overthrow it, and I knew that it was going to hook back from there.
This is his 17th event of the season. This will be his 15th cash. He has a title.
One of the things I've been working on the most is just making sure I stay within my pre-shot routine. So I'm hoping that every shot that I throw before I get up there looks just like that. So I wipe the ball off, I wipe my shoes off, make sure my thumb's locked in, fix my glasses, get up there, take a deep breath, and go.
That's pretty salty.
Yep, trip 10, 4 for 4 for Billy.
So those two there, the best sign of great ball reaction is when the 6 slaps the 10 like that. A lot of balls can go through flush, but it's that shot there that'll tell you that your ball's rolling through the pins properly. Because if your ball's a little bit too early, a little bit too long, that 10 pin's is gonna stay up there every time. So when it's slapping the 10 like that, you got it going on.
Not a lot went wrong on that one.
So now for the first time, AJ Chapman faces a bit of a crisis. That's how you answer.
Well, what you saw in the last match is every time.
That was a really good shot off the 2 ones that went high. You can look like to me he made a parallel move. He moved probably 2 or 3 left with his feet and with his eyes, and he kind of kept it away from that dry spot. And when you do that with urethane, it's hard to tell if that's going to hook from there. So that's a move he had to be pretty confident in, and he made a pretty good shot.
Right, he had the 3, 6, 7, 10, and only took out the 6, 10.
Some of that may have been on him. Some of it will be on changes in the lane, but he's got to answer the question now and then commit to something and make a really good shot before this one gets away.
Oh, trip 7.
That one he definitely got to the right. It wasn't his best shot, but that lane hooked a little more, had a little bit more free hook to the right, so he was able to get away with it.
Right, you can get that's right at that 7-8 mark there.
And he gets pretty pumped on that shot because he knows if he doesn't strike there, he's gonna need the rest of them to have any sort of chance.
Barnes, I'm Dave Lamont. Jeff Goodyear is here also, helping produce our flow bowling coverage, along with a lot of other folks who have been running around like crazy over the last 24 hours and more to bring all of this to you. We're very grateful for all of their hard work. That's 5 in a row for O'Neal.
That one was definitely too firm, but it was a miss in the right spot. I got a little bit left. It didn't get as far right as the one before that, so didn't have to travel back as far. And again, you're gonna when the ball's rolling through the pins right, you're gonna catch some breaks. And in this shot here, I just kept telling myself, slow, everything's slow. Throw it as slow as you can, and sometimes over-exaggerate that a little bit. And I get up there and I think about being slow, and I do it the wrong way. I get too slow in the early stages of my delivery, and so my ball never really doesn't get into the swing in the right time. It gets in too late, and it's too slow and muscled, and that's when the over the top shot to the left comes in.
Little fortunate to leave something relatively easy to make. Anytime you add in extra pins.
Where did he go wrong on that shot?
We don't have the camera right behind him. So
Even at this point, throwing a shot like that, I knew I had a pretty big lead in the match, and just to keep making spares, and I'm thinking that he's probably gonna not strike at least once more. So I know that if I strike spare the rest of the way, I'm in I'm in the 230s, so I know I'm in pretty good shape, and just not do anything silly from here on out.
43 pin deficit, but a chance to pull it to 33 here and with the double to 23 and make it basically a one miss game.
Oh,
That was the biggest break of the match, and it really kept him in it. That was a pretty poor shot. He fell off balance. He came up out of it, got it to the right, and threw it firm. Kind of everything you couldn't do, with what we were doing in lanes, and that was a tremendous break.
That even with his rev rate, it just doesn't pick up enough.
At a different point in my life, I would have been a lot more angry at him slapping out the rolled 278, but
He ever really missed
I just had to, I'm just trying to stay within myself and,
of it not being
know that I'm still in really, really good position. But that break for him definitely loosened him up, kept him in the match, and sometimes when you're any bowler, especially ones that are a little more inexperienced in that, in that setting, in that title match setting, that changes everything for you. You can loosen up a lot. And just watching this over again, like he definitely looks a lot more fidgety than he would normally. I mean, he's doing a lot of shimmying and a lot of handing out of the ball, and we've certainly all been there.
Yep.
And then he gets up after the good break and throws it really good.
a great sign for AJ Chapman that in a difficult spot he comes up with big shots each time.
Well, it changes the energy of the match. I mean, this is there, then O'Neill basically still has 30 pin lead, and he doesn't have to be perfect. He doesn't feel like he has to be at 23. Now he knows he doesn't have too many. One error could basically put him behind.
But he has been very smooth in the front five. And he too collapses.
Another shot on that lane that was a little bit too firm. You can just tell it just explodes off my hand a little bit too quick, but the ball I was using just gave me such a great reaction that it, when I didn't throw it great on that lane, it still ended up somewhere around the pocket.
Which he might force it that way a little bit and not catch it quite as well as he did before. Accelerates the ball slightly faster. Talking about urethane, it can really change the back end reaction and lack thereof.
Lead back up to 33. Yep. Well, what is it?
23.
23.
This one we're pushing to 33 here.
Feel free to jump in anytime I mess up the math there. Or
That was definitely much too hard for what I was trying to do. It just squirted off my hand just real quick, and I think adrenaline started to pick up a little bit there, and just didn't want to get on top of myself like I did the shot before on that lane and get too steep, and just trying to in my own head too much there instead of just making the correct shot. And now I'm staring at what I was hoping for a pretty easy title match to if I don't make the spare, he could shut me out. Well, he could strike out and beat me no matter what I did. So, and then I almost missed it. So that was a pretty good break because I threw it a little bit too slow and hit it on it a little too hard, and it he definitely could have missed that one left.
257, 23 pin lead, chance to bring it to 13 with the strike right now. Time to put it up with the math, it looks like to me.
I think it's pretty simple.
I'm sure he's getting up there knowing that if he doesn't if he doesn't strike in the 8th and 9th here, there's a pretty good chance that he's not going to get an opportunity. And that was an excellent shot off the one in the 6th that he came up out of and threw it pretty hard, and he just got up there and the most important shot of the match for him and just labeled it. So you have to at this point I'm thinking, man, if he's probably going to strike here in the 9th, and he's got the look on the right lane. So I know that he's in my head. I'm thinking, okay, he's not missing. So you have to get up there and you have to end it. You have to make sure that he can't get up there with any sort of chance. He may need a new fit in his thumb there. It doesn't seem like he has a good idea of how to get it in and out of the ball. Another really good shot there. Two of his best shots were in the 8th and 9th there, which definitely showed me, all right, it's you're gonna have to strike out here. It also tells me that he's gonna win his fair share on the PBA tour, because he's with shots like that, he's ready to do it. He's ready to capitalize on the next opportunity.
No, we understand that. It's just for a select few.
Huge shot here.
Even though I had strikes in every shot on this lane, I was much more confident in the left lane in my ball reaction. So I got a pretty good break there. I threw it pretty good. It just went a little bit longer than I'd wanted it to, and I got lucky with the 6 hitting the 10 there. And so I get up on this left lane, and I'm just trying to throw it slower. I know if I throw it slower and I get it going to the right, that it's going to be good.
AJ Chapman possible 254.
You might need every bit of that 257.
So I took a re-rack here, which is something I don't normally do in these spots, because I want to stay in my regular routine, regular rhythm. I don't want to treat any shot any different, but sometimes you get your heart rate going too quick, and you just have to take a second to get it down and regroup and go through your routine after you get that settled down a little bit. So that shot was much slower than the one before, and it made it back. I knew if I could throw it slower, that it was going to hook back from there. I didn't know if I'd get the seven out, but I knew that it would hook back from that spot.
So one more will put him in a position where he can lock out the match.
For Bill, as the match has gone on, his balls consistently get lighter and lighter as we go. So the thing in his head here, throw a little slower. Make sure you catch it all. Or you just repeat the same shot and hope that you mix them up. There's a lot of adrenaline going on right now. Oh, that's really good.
And that was flush. That's a gorgeous shot. And now Bill O'Neill can.
Yeah, so I'm just thinking again, slow. Just don't overthrow it. Get it in that 5-board area that I had on that lane, and I knew it was going to be good. And there had the 6 slapping the 10 again. Just it was rolling through right. And I knew here if I just did the same thing, I wasn't trying to think about the count. I knew I needed 8, but I wasn't going to think about throwing it down the middle or anything like that. I knew if I just made a decent shot, that the worst I was going to do was pocket 710 on a somewhat decent shot. So even that would have been a win. So I just had to make sure I didn't overthrow it, and keep it in that little spot right there, and it
That's it. He's done it. For the 11th
and it was
time,
ended up pretty good.
Bill O'Neill is a PBA Tour champion.
Boy, he earned every single bit of that one right there.
Now he had AJ Chapman breathing down.
That crowd there in Chesapeake was probably our best crowd, one of the best crowds of the whole season on the national tour, just on the Flow Bowling Tour. It was packed in there all weekend, Pro-Am. I'm looking forward to going back. That's a great place for bowling. The people will really show out there.